next item is public meeting item number 3, which is an application for a certificate of appropriateness at 434 Lafayette Street, an individual landmark in the NoHo Historic District, docket number 14-9952, block 545, lot 37. And this is a Greek Revival style townhouse with a 2-story Corinthian colonnade attributed to Seth Greer and built in 1832 to 33. And the application is to install a marquee, signage, and lighting.
This proposal is to install a new marquee at the basement level of this individual landmark, also known as Colonnade Level or Lagrange Terrace. The proposed marquee and sign boxes will be the same size and at the same location as a previously approved application issued in 2001. You can see that in the first board here. This was previously approved, and this is what they're proposing now. But the structural framework will be different. It will be bolted to brick piers at the interior of the basement floor and attached to the marquee metal framework through window chambers. And this avoids impacting the marble facade. The marquee will be clad with a flex space vinyl here, which will be stretched over the aluminum frame, and there will be recessed lighting in the aluminum ceiling.
Sure.
The proposal also calls for 2 internally illuminated sign boxes clad with the same vinyl material, and that was not approved at the 2001. You can see the 2 sign boxes there. This is a overall showing the proposal, and this is the details. The project team is here, including the engineer who designed this attachment system.
I'd just like to
Oh, I'm sorry.
commend
Let me just,
Stephen Daly,
excuse me for 1 minute, just 1 minute. We'll reopen the hearing. Yes, please go ahead.
I'm Stephen Daly. I'm the filing representative for the Astor Place Theater. On the handouts, page 2 shows the formally approved marquee and the proposed marquee. Page 3 shows the current existing conditions. Page 3B shows the montage showing the proposed marquee. Page 3C shows some interior details where the marquee will actually be mounted to the brick piers that you see on page 3D. The piers shown on page 3D are right next door to 432, but are otherwise identical to the ones covered in plaster. Page 12 is historic photographs. Page 13 is historic photographs that show the difference between the windows in 1890 and the 20th century replacement windows that are presently there. Page 15 shows some historic photographs. There have been signage on the building since 1880. The buildings and residential use from about 1830 to about 1881, when the Churchman was this enthusiastic publisher with its printing operations there. It's been in commercial use since 1881 or so, and it's been in theater since 1963. So it's been in theatrical usage for about the same number of years, almost exactly as it was residential usage. Pages 15 and on are the instructional credits. And now I'd like to introduce Colin from the Astor Place Theater.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Colin Llewellyn. I'm the general manager for Blue Man Group at the Astor Place Theater. I wanted to give you a little overview of what brought us before you here today and what we hope to achieve with the new marquee. Basically, the existing marquee was taken down in anticipation of Hurricane Irene. We were concerned about it structurally holding up under the winds. So we took it down and then we put it back up. When we were putting it back up, the sign vendor said, this looks a little dodgy, you should have this checked out by an engineering firm. So we brought in McLaren Engineering, who looked over the previous marquee and told us that it was not structurally sound in the way it was affixed to the face of the building. It was pulling out of the limestone. The stone was deteriorating and not holding it. So we took it down immediately as a public safety concern and began contracting our sign vendor, Ken Lugan, who's not with us today, but Scott Lewis, our engineer who is, to develop a marquee that would be more structurally sound and we hope more aesthetically pleasing. As you'll notice, the old marquee has an open bottom and it has this sort of track lighting in there. There's also frequently a pigeon roost. We'd hope to eliminate that effect. It was also fluorescent lighting along the top, which caused a lot of light bleed into the surrounding area without giving us much presence for our sign. It was, to me, it was not a great marquee. So while it was unfortunate we had to take it down, I was hoping we could improve it some. The new marquee, which Scott can walk you through how the engineering has been improved, but it is rear lit. It is affixed to the building through the seams or the sill of the window and into the brick wall on the interior of the building, and it's not visible from the outside. And then we enclose the bottom again to stop this sort of pigeon roost effect and also to improve the look of the underside, which at present is somewhat unattractive track lighting. And that's pretty much it. Turn it over to questions for you guys.
Are there any questions? Any questions? All right, thank you. Speakers on this item, Barbara Zay.
Barbara Zay of the Historic Districts Council. This application is before the Commission today because of an expired certificate of appropriateness. Certificates of appropriateness have expiration dates in order to provide the opportunity to reconsider a proposed project and perhaps to come up with a better scheme. The proposed signage, marquee, and lighting is a similar iteration of what it currently exists, and HDC feels that this is a lost opportunity to create something more handsome for this building, which is part of the very notable Colonnade Row. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more speakers? Our Community Board 2 recommends approval of this application and that the band above the sign remain the present light metal color.
What i-
Yes,
What is the fabric on the
current?
old, yes, the,
Existing.
It's the
Yeah.
same fabric.
It's the same fabric.
Vinyl, which is in, it's, at least 15 historic property views.
So the material that way is not changing?
Material is not changing.
Okay. But the borders of the canopy are changing, right? From a lighter color to now black, is that correct?
That's currently what we're proposing. It's not a key feature if it's deemed necessary to make them a lighter color.
Well, I just think that the color that you have previously seems to at least match the color of the limestone or something, and this is just, seems very strong.
We're not there yet.
yeah.
All right, any comments or any other questions? We can close the hearing? Okay, closed. Yes, comments or questions? Any?
Oh, just,
Yes.
so in terms of how the attachment actually works, it goes,
It
so
go-
they're not cutting out anything?
It goes into the
Wood?
opening, I
So-
think, and then
So
gets
is there an
attached to the
opening-
break.
Where's the opening? I mean, so I see wood
There's this-
trim around the doors.
Oh, from in the,
So is it higher or lower than that, or is it, where does it? 29, okay, all right.
I'm the structural engineer, do I go into that?
I have to reopen in order to do that. Okay. Page 29? Yes. Okay.
Well, how does that relate to the, so the? It's over two window openings. You're talking about at the bottom, at sec 4. Are we talking 4? Where is the window there? The existing window.
Maybe he could just help.
Yes.
So my question was, like, how does it pass the window? Is it in the masonry or is it in the wood frame? Something gets cut, right?
Rick.
It goes through the wood.
With the wood frame.
Trim.
Right.
It does not
So-
penetrate.
All right, you know what, just to make sure that this is on the record, so I'll just reopen the hearing. Everybody in favor? Okay, why don't you just answer the question? Yes. Please answer. You can stand up and, yes. Roberta?
The structure consists of steel plates,
Mhm.
which are oriented vertically. They're an inch thick, 15 inches high. They're installed through neatly cut slots through the wood window jambs. They do not involve altering the hinge of the windows. So it's all in the woodwork, and we don't cut away any masonry or stone facade, don't touch the stone facade at all.
Okay, no, so it goes through beside the trim, and so you're cutting out the trim.
Cutting out the wood.
All right, any other questions for the applicant? Okay, we'll close the hearing again. All right, any concerns? Yes.
I think that particularly the history of this building with its life of signage and theater supports the idea of a marquee that's actually using vinyl. I mean, normally we would say no to the vinyl because it's not typical material, but it is actually typical in this district that has quite a lot of theaters and has a kind of a natural funk to it. I mean, we are talking about the East Village, so you can
Right.
see a lot of other kinds of materials. So that's why I think it's an appropriate material here.
Yes, Fred.
I'm not going to disagree, but I think the extraordinary, iconic architecture here, so unusual in New York and so important historically. You know, ideally in a purer world, you might not have, even though there is a theater here and a marquee and a theater go together, of course, almost necessarily. But still, there's something really wrong about this big sign on this extraordinary piece of architecture. But it's been there, it's going to stay, and I think this is not a, it's a slight improvement on what was there. I just wish there was another way that this great building could be more kind of completely honored, but just a comment.
Okay, any other
And-
comments? Yes.
Yeah, and I think that, I agree. I think that it is iconic, and it can represent what's happening, the changes that happen in the area. And so I guess my concern was really just that you're cutting out something. So it's not masonry, and it's wood, which I guess in theory is easier to patch up later on. But we should just recognize that we are messing with something that's historic, that frame, that trim, so.
Okay, yes.
The windows on this building at this level are not original,
Okay,
but the stone masonry is, and it's very delicate. I think that anything
No, I'm
that
good with
that
that.
takes stress away from this masonry, which is, I think it's Inwood marble, is an advantage.
okay, I'm down with that.
All right, good. I think we can, Marjorie, you want to read the resolution?
Yeah. Of a certificate of appropriateness for 434 Lafayette Street, an individual landmark and also in the NoHo Historic District. The application is to install a marquee, signage, and lighting. I recommend approval, finding that the removal of the existing signage will not result in any damage to or demolition of a significant architectural feature of the building, that the base of the building has historically been the location of marquees and commercial signage, that the location of the marquee and signage at the end of the row and at the raised basement level of the building does not significantly diminish the appearance of the colonnade, a distinguishing and special architectural feature, that the marquee will be contained within the width of the two window openings and will only partially obscure one of the masonry piers of the base of the front facade, that the proposed sign boxes contained within the window and at the top of the door opening in terms of their size and placement will not detract from the significant architectural features of the building, that the proposed marquee has the same dimensions and same placement relative to the facade as the previously approved marquee, that the horizontality of the proposed marquee will relate well to the horizontal expression of the base of the building, that the structural design of the marquee framework will use a cantilevered system from the interior of the building, will project through the window jambs, and will not damage or impact the masonry of the front facade, and that the recessed lighting in the ceiling of the marquee will not be obtrusive.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this resolution's been passed.